I wanted to talk SP404 beatmaking because in the last couple of SP videos and just sampler-based videos I've been making, I've gotten a lot of questions asking about arrangement and just ways of making beat making. And honestly, I just miss making beats sometimes here on the channel. So I wanted to test out live streaming again and see how everything goes. So if you're watching this live, let me know what gear you've been using mainly. I'm actually eyeing a new sampler soon just to test out something else. So I'm curious to hear what everybody's working with. I was just using the MPC sample, and then I was on vacation using Koala. So we're going to dust off the cobwebs on the SP. It's been about 2-3 weeks since I used it, but I did use it in a member stream yesterday, so just got a little reacquainted with it. But it's still always the one I come back to. But anyways, we've got some samples. I've got some melodic samples, and then I've got these drums. So I think we're going to start with the drums. We'll see, because usually when I go live, the second I start playing the drums in live, I always mess up, but we'll see what happens. That's just the way it goes. I think I was testing out what BPM this little loop I had was, and 79 seemed to be right, so we're going to go with 79 and see what happens. Now, hopefully you're not hearing the click, because I switched it in the output assign, so let me know if you're hearing that click. I'll change it. Let's try just a little quantize, and we're gonna do, whoop, I lost that one, hold on, there we go. Let's go to 4 bars. Okay, that's what I thought. The quantize makes this one a little wonky. I actually want that one kind of off time, but you know what? I'm lazy. Let's just drop the volume. Problem solved. All right, let's go from there. Yeah, I think this sound will work for our main synth. Yeah, I like that, but I want a chord in between. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I kind of like that. Okay, so with the SP, playing chords on the SP, this is minor, that's major. I want to say that's major and that's minor for the couple different finger patterns. I have them in my SP cheat sheet, so I can actually look, but I think, yeah, this sounds like minor, that sounds like major. So those are your main ways of playing. Drums, let's see who that is. Liam Filmmaker, drum is giving Thundercat glonky type beat. All right, cool. I actually am not super familiar with Thundercat, but yeah, I've been going for these like more wonky, less quantized drums. We may go into our rec mode and quantize the first kick and the last snare. I think that I learned that one from Non-Juror. It's like kind of just grounds the wonkiness, but I kind of like where it's at. We can check later though on the TR rec mode. But anyways, on the keys, if you do decide you want to play keys on the SP, which I just like it because I just need the one piece of gear, right? Like it's nice to just have that. Like I said, that's your minor, that's your major for one style, and then if you're doing these in between notes, that's major and that's minor. So let's go and get those recorded in. I think for this, we're going to quantize it. Let's do 8th note. Let's quantize it a little bit more. Ah, it missed those first couple notes. No. Okay, so we'll go in. Let's see, what note is that? Let me hear. It's that note. So we need those two. So what we'll do, we'll just record over and quantize. Go quarter note. I'm going to do that one more time, because I didn't like the decay difference. There, that's better. And we're going to add some effects and things like that. I don't think we're going to resample, but I think we'll add just like, we can do it now. Kodama on bus 1. You all know this is my go-to when it comes to the melodic sounds. It just kind of glues everything together, and then the ping pong delay that this has just goes around the stereo field. And if you go in and hold, make sure it's in pan, but you can drop out some of that low end, so it cleans up those delays a little bit more. But let's hear the difference. So without it, let's add it. Just a little bit. And we're doing quarter note time. We could do something different. Now, one thing I noticed, because I had to do kind of a weird way of getting that first chord, because I didn't just want to undo it all. I guess I could have just deleted it in TR rec mode, but I'm going to go in on this synth and we're going to add some release. Now, release isn't just for the end of the sound. It's not just going to cause it to go down. Release makes a difference on any time you hit it. If you have a gate on, see how I stop and it just stops? But if we add release, see how it keeps going? I can't zoom in like I could in a video, but if you watch that line that goes across, when I let go, with release, it keeps going because we set it. So it's just a nice way to clean up a little bit or just make it more like a synth pad. Let's hear where we're at. Yeah, that's better. And then let's get that delay on. We can try maybe dotted 8th. Ooh. I like that dotted 8th actually. I think we're gonna stick with that. That sounded cool. Now, I've got a lead. That could work. And all of these melodic sounds are from my newest sample pack. The link's in the description, Memory Signals. They're all from my, I don't know if you can see, but my analog synths over here. I just sampled them through a ton of effects like the ZVEX Lo-Fi and what's that one reverb, the Big Sky, and then added effects post-processing. Even this one, which I think we'll use for the B section, that's actually an arpeggio on the MS1, and I used a bunch of delays to just turn it into a pad, but it's a suspended chord, so that'll be interesting working that in, but we'll give that a shot. But let's start with this lead for now. Oh, hold on. Let's see. What about this? Whoop. Okay, so that last note borrows the major chord from what would be the minor at the start. So that note's not going to work. So we'd have to think of a different note. I like holding that. This is where the lead gets messy. Because now that we're doing all these weird complex things in the chord progression in that second repeat of it, I have to get a little creative with the lead. I've got the lead for the first part. Now it's just figuring out how can we kind of like just holding that and then oh, I kind of like that actually. It seems unexpected too, so maybe we go with that. I'm going to try that. Let's see what happens. And let's do less quantize. That's probably 8th notes. Let's give that a shot and see what happens. Oop, totally missed it too. We'll just start on this one. That works. wondering, so what I like to do, I've talked about this in videos, and that's what someone was asking questions about in it, and the genesis of the idea for this live stream. I build everything up in just one pattern and then arrange it later by just copying things and moving it around and stuff like that. So I kind of want to add even more complexity to this main synth, and I'm wondering, either we can make a synth, but it might not be a bad idea to just resample an octave up. Let's see. I actually have the octave up sample in the sample pack, but it's not, I don't have it with me. I'll tell you what. Let's make it a little more wonky with some wow and flutter. That should work. And then maybe we'll even add Juno chorus. Drop the noise. That should work. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll hit resample. Go up an octave. Perfect. Okay, so I could have taken the sample and, well, we don't want to delete that, pitched it up, but with this mode it only goes up to 7. You can switch if you hit shift and go out of that vinyl, and then it separates pitch and speed and you can go up, but it just has way more artifacts and things like that, so I don't feel like dealing with that. So let's see, I'm kind of wondering if we can add, like, whoa, we got to turn off that Juno chorus and get the Kodama back on. I'm kind of hearing like extended chords with this. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Okay, I don't think I want it as loud. I want to lower it a little bit, but I do think I want to record that. There we go. Now let's lower the volume of it. Just finding where I think it kind of fits. Yep, that'll work. Nice to see in the poll I posted over on the live stream. 30-something%, it is so tiny font right now, but looks like 36% said beat making. Originally, it was just saying effects and sampling, and I was like, oh, this could definitely do some good beat making. So I'm glad to see others are using it for beat making too. It is a little clunky, it does take some time, but it is a nice way of working, like just getting away from the computer and the DAW and all that stuff. So if you do use it for beat making, I'd be curious in the chat, let me know. Are you building everything in one pattern and then copying things and moving things around, or are you building a lot of different patterns and then just sequencing them? But with that, we will make that B section in a second, but this is just a sine wave from sound generator. I'll tell you what, let's get another sound, maybe a sawtooth. Oh, that sounds terrible. I always forget, I haven't been using sound generator as much as a couple years ago. The level in sound generator when you turn it on is so loud. And I know that sounds terrible, so give it a second. Is that Sesh Beats? I can't, sorry, the font is so tiny right now. I think that's Sesh Beats. SP is my daily driver. Nice. What are you using it for when you use it? Like, are you just making the beats on it? You sending sounds through? I mean, it can do it all. That's why I love it. Okay, so this sounds terrible. Bear with me because it's not going to sound as bad. It's going to sound a lot better. But sound generator is just a raw waveform, no filter, anything like that. So let's do that. And then we're going to take off that Kodama. And what we are going to do is take, where is my super filter? Here. We're going to do a super filter, a little bit of resonance. You can hear it's already a little bit better. Let's change the rate. 2. We're gonna go a whole bar, so 1 of 1. Get some depth in there. Okay, so you can hear what we're doing is I've got a filter, because remember, Sound Generator has no filter, so we're now putting a filter on it. I'm dropping the cutoff so that it doesn't have as much high frequency, because we don't want all of that. But I add the resonance so that when I put the LFO that Super Filter has on, which affects the cutoff by moving it's basically doing this to the cutoff, moving it up and down with whatever BPM and rate we're doing, the resonance is going to cause little peaks. And I just like, since we're going to resample this with a merge sample, it's going to make it sound a little less static as a sample source. Like when we play it, especially when we play it in chromatic mode, the speed of the sample changes. And so you get different variations of the LFO movement. So it just makes it a little more, I hesitate to use the word analog, but it just gives it a little more movement and groove. So that'll work. Let's get, I was going to say warm saturator, but I was going to say Juno chorus, but I think we'll do, this is going to be really bassy. Yeah, that's a lot better. We're just going to shape it a little bit. And then if we go into bus 3 and 4, this is going to be a bit louder, so I do apologize if it's like super loud. Just let me know in the chat if it's really loud. Here, equalizer and Juno chorus, so that'll work. And let's go, oh, we don't want all that bass off. We actually want bass there. Let's do that. There we go. I'm trying to bring out the bass, but honestly, we may not want that because we're going to add that sine wave that I have. So let's do that. And then let's get back up there. Let's go to 4, because there was no, look at this balance, 98.2. So let's go like that, yeah. I like that. That sounds good. Now we're going to resample. Did I forget to, oh man, I always forget. Yep, it defaults to 2 seconds pad length. And, okay, so you can hear the difference. That's the original. This is what we made. And we're going to pair it with that. But we're going to need to drop the volume. So I think it's, yeah, shift resample is our merge sample. We're going to go with this. This is just a pure sine wave. I had it earlier on this pad in this bank. And this one, we're going to drop the, oh, hold on. Did the wrong button. I only want maybe 50% of that sine wave, or square wave. No, what was it? Saw wave. Man, I'm getting all the waves confused. All right, let's do that. And we'll put it over here. Weird bass tone. I think this was an octave too high, maybe. But you know what? Let's try it. Let's see what happens. We gotta take those settings off. That's better. Okay, let's go into this. That could work. Okay, I'm kind of debating, do I want it to be more of a held bass or more like percussive? I can't decide. Let's see you at the chat. Sesh Beats. I usually do everything to a pattern and make variations, but lately I've been experimenting with recording a bunch of loops using the looper and making little mixes. Yeah, that's actually been my main way of doing SP beats lately. But there's like pros and cons to both, right? Because on the looper, I like that every single layer you do, you can change the effects completely. Whereas on the pattern mode, you're stuck with the 4 buses. Like whatever you have to bus 1, it's just one effect. Whatever you have to bus 2, I mean, you can obviously chain them together, but like it's just those stuck together. So I like that about the looper, but you don't have any form of quantize, which on one hand is nice, but you also like it can get messy really quick. But even more to that is there's only that one undo layer, so you really can't like do the loop stuff and call it a day unless you're just building up to one like peak and then just finishing there, because you can't just like undo things and stuff like that. So what I do is I just send it to my DAW and then stem split it, and then I can rearrange it as long as you got the BPM right. I like routing my bass to bus 2 and using warm saturator. Yeah, that's cool. That's why I put it in when I did that, because this is, you just reminded me, thanks Sesh Beats. I'm gonna put this on bus 2 because bus 1 is gonna have our Kodama, and we do not want ping pong delay on our bass. That's gonna be a nightmare. So this sets it free, and then that gives bus 2 to be performance stuff. Of course, I go to the cliche DJ effects looper, but whatever we want with it. Or if we want to really thicken things up, you could add like a 303 compressor and stuff like that. So let's hear, we need to get that bass in, that's right, I forgot. Went on a side tangent. I still, wow, that bass is really loud. Hold on. Look at that waveform. Yeah, this is our combined one. I was like, wait a second. All right. Still a little loud. Okay, let's try it now. All right. Okay, let's try it. We're just gonna record it. We can always undo it and see where we get to. Now I'm debating, let's do 8th note quantize with just a little bit, and let's see what happens there. I'm gonna overdub this little addition. Oh, I forgot. Okay, we need to move that one note over a little bit. So I think we are going to go into TR rec mode. It's one of these, I think. Let's just get rid of that high note and see what happens. Maybe that fixes my issue. Okay, so we need to move that one, and I forget, oh, the microscope on, man, I like never use that TR microscope. Is it shift? No, totally forgot. Well, we lost the note anyway, so we'll just record it in. Okay, I will get out of TR rec mode. What is it? Sample or remain? Yeah, that's right. And let's go there. There we go. Sometimes it's better to just undo it and re-record it. Over in the chat, G-Man, is that G-Man? I think that is what it says. Pattern and variations. I've only had the SP for a few weeks. I'm just learning basics at the moment. Nice. Well, congrats on getting an SP. It's awesome. It does take a while. It is a little complex. When it comes to the basics, what are you starting with? Like I was talking with Sesh there, I think actually the looper is one of the best places to start, but it depends kind of your goals and all that. But you just learn how everything kind of works in the SP, and then you can go into patterns, understanding bus effects and things like that. Also, we've got that Rondo Ellsworth. Let me see if I can zoom in. My little laptop is Yes, I can. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, Rondo Ellsworth, what's your opinion on the compressor? I'm still all the way back on version 4.04. Are you talking about sidechain compression? Because we are going to get to that. Don't worry. We will get over to sidechain compression. I like it. I have a few small issues with it, but overall, I think it's cool. I would have preferred. I don't know if they could have done it, but I would have preferred that it was like per bank or something, because it's just everything. So for every song, which could have different gain staging and things like that, you would need to change the ratio, the threshold, and all of that. But you can't, because you'd have to go in and manually do it. You can, obviously, but you have to go in and manually do it. Whereas, like, what I would envision, and again, it might be too much or something, but if you could, like, I know some people use a lot of banks, or a lot of banks for like a single song, but typically I try to keep most of it, or the majority of it, like restricted to one bank. And I just think if you had that sidechain per bank, it'd be really nice to just, you'd have those variables covered. And yeah, Rondo says, yeah, that sidechain. Yeah, I do really like it. We'll get to it in a second if we have time, and I think we will. We're actually making pretty good time here. But that's my biggest issue with it, just that it's like, it's limited in that sense that it's just everything. Here's sidechain. So it looks like we actually have sidechain on, but you may not even notice it, because like I was saying, the ratios for this sidechain is set to another song that might have been a lot louder or something like that. Sorry, I had to mute my mic for a second, or it got muted. Oh yeah, we have this other kick too. But, well, I'll tell you what, we already have the bass loaded in. And it's really loud. But I do like to record bass with it on a lot louder. That way I can hear it a little bit better, and then I drop it down. Okay, let's do that sidechain then. So let's get out of that. Oh yeah, is this, ooh, why did we get over there? Let's go here. I want to check something. This hi-hat, I'm gonna pan it to the left a little bit. Just a little bit. That's better. And then I might put this little second snare just a little to the right. We're just getting a little bit of panning and stereo field. We've already got some. See, that's another reason why I really like having Kodama on bus 1. All of the melodic sounds are now dancing around the stereo field because we have a ping pong delay. So you can hear it go boom, 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 like move around the stereo field. So that's just a nice way to get a little bit of stereo stuff without having to worry, oh, is this left? Is this right? Is this all that? We could put those two leads slightly to the left and right. That might, let's hear what that does, because that might actually really bring it kind of alive. I don't want a ton, but just a little bit. This is something I've been experimenting with a lot more, because I used to just typically just stick things in mono and not worry about it. But I do notice that listening to Inferno from Boards of Canada a lot lately. I mean, I'm a huge Boards of Canada fan, but I've been listening to it a lot, and there's just some interesting panning on that album and things like that. And it really, I mean, that thing is so well mixed and produced and all that stuff. I mean, of course it is, it's them, but I think it just gives a lot of space, and I really love that sound of just a lot of space. That partially is why I think the drums hit so hard a lot, because there's just room for them. You can already hear there's a little more space on that bass. Like, I kind of want to lower it now. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's better. All right, we got another comment from, is that Sesh? Yeah, Sesh says, you can kind of combine workflows as well. If you record a loop in time with your pattern, then you can just use TR-Rec mode to start the loop. Totally, yeah, it does work. What he's saying, or they're saying, is you can make these loops or ideas in the looper, export it to a sample pad, and then put it on the one of your pattern, and it just plays through. That works for sure. There's all kinds of ways to combine them. In this member stream I did yesterday, I was talking about the ways I like my typical workflow with the looper, because I really like just live building a song. You may have seen some of my shorts, and if you follow me on Instagram, I've been doing a lot where I just like in one take build a full song using the looper. Absolutely love that. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to use the looper. it is very limited. And that's kind of the thing with everything on the SP, right? There's so many constraints to everything it can do, but it could do basically everything. That's why I call it the Studio Chameleon. So that's why I love it so much. G-Man says, I'm from MPC background and just developing workflow that's comfortable at the moment. Nice. What MPC? The first MPC I got was the, let me see if I can grab it. The sample. Well, it's like two different cameras, but the sample. I really do like it, but it doesn't do as much as I would hope. And there's things that I think it could do that it doesn't, at least yet. Hopefully it gets some updates. But I saw they just put out the Gen 2 MPC-1 or something. So they're putting out a lot. So we'll see. And James says, I have like 100 ARPs in different keys on different banks on the SP. I use them when jamming with loop, cloud, drum, and bass tracks. I play leads on my Launch Key Mark IV. Everything is routed through Ableton. Nice. That's a cool way to do it. What is loop cloud? Is that like a sample thing or like a AI generator? Let me know, James. That's interesting. That's a cool workflow. Yeah, that's another. So that's what I love. Like everyone has different ways of doing work on the SP, and it's so awesome. And most samplers can do that. I don't know. For me, the workflow clicks, but I know it's crazy. G-Man says, I haven't messed with the looper yet. Yeah, give it a shot. It's pretty cool. You have to change the mark setting in the utilities from, what is that, skip back to the looper, but it does work really well. All right, Rondo, I see your question. I will get to it in just a second. Let me just do the sidechain, and then we'll talk about that, because that's a really good question. Let's go over to sidechain. I want the song running so I can hear it. And then, so threshold, if we drop it, it should pick it up at some point. Source is bus 2, target is bus 1. Sorry, if we raise it, that starts doing the, hear the kick. I just want that kick to really trigger it. And that's a lot of ratio. So you can hear it when we put that release up a ton, it's doing a ton. Like the drums are just, but I just want the kick. Maybe a little sidechain dip on the snare. That's a lot still. Drop the ratio a little bit. It's like right there. So hopefully you can hear it. There's a lot of pumping going on. I'm probably gonna overdo it just for the sake of example, but you can really control it. Release is gonna just be the amount of time that it actually dips. So if you don't want a ton, you can do not a lot of release and then really up the ratio. But I actually like a bit of a longer release because it's so abrupt. If you're really going for that pump. If you're just going for subtle kind of cleaning up the bass, but the way we have it routed, the bass and the drums are both in bus 2, so the bass actually isn't getting sidechained, which is a bit of a bummer, but just a function of it. But I just want that kind of movement in the high stuff. And then, hold on, we're gonna do a little more release. And then, let's raise the gain. So this is makeup gain for bus 1. And let's drop that ratio a little bit again. Just clean it up a little bit. Again, the main thing with sidechain would be to clean up the bass, right? But, well, I guess, no, actually, see, we could put the bass on no bus, but then we're still running into the issue where it's either the bass is going to get sidechained or the melodic stuff is going to get sidechained. My thing is, again, most of what I'm going to do, I'm going to send this into a DAW and stem split it. I don't really like the multi-pad export because I want the jam, I want the live performance aspect. I may play something on top, I may do live effects and things like that. I want that. Now you could do the multi-pad export and just send it over and put it in your DAW, and you don't need to stem split it. Because stem splitting can have artifacts. I totally get that. Logic's is pretty decent though. That's what I'm using. And I just like being able to just live play the jam, be like in the moment with the jam, and then deal with it later. But anyways, what I was getting at is, since I'm going to do that, I can sidechain the bass to the kick in there and have a lot more control over it. So I just want to get a little subtle pumping on these pads just for this video for us, and to show what the sidechain can do on here. But you are going to run into that, like, unless you don't have Kodama on bus 1, you could then put the bass on bus 1, and let's do that just for example's sake, and we'll probably have a lot more pumping. Let's go over back to sidechain and let's up that. Now the kick is going to hit out a lot harder because the bass is getting dropped a little bit, but I really like the Kodama. So it's all compromise and things you want to do with that. Okay, I think we'll make the B section. Now, before we do that, there's actually quite a bit of chat, so I'm just going to run through. Rondo, I want to answer your question about the MPC sample. They asked, would it be good as a beginner sampler for a child? I don't know. I mean, it depends if you're willing to spend $400 and the age of the child and things like that. I think the MPC sample is 400. I don't know if it's changed with all this like RAM stuff going on, but it's still pretty complicated for learning. Like, I have a 2.5-year-old. He loves to just hit the pads and make drums and stuff like that, but there's no way he's gonna do anything like that. But with something like the pocket operator, the P033, the original one, I don't think I have it in here. We can make like jams with it, he and I, and it's really fun, and he loves it. So I don't know. I guess it would depend on the age. I think like the MPC sample is a pretty easy sampler, especially just for playing and quickly recording something. If you want to then get into the more complex stuff, it can do some of that. So I think it would be, depending on the age, maybe like for a 6 or 8-year-old or something, it'd probably be pretty decent. But I find the circuit tracks, which isn't a sampler, but the circuit tracks and the P033 have been really good to jam with my toddler. He's 2.5. I mean, you know, he doesn't really know everything going on, obviously, when it comes to the music and stuff, but he has a lot of fun just like making the sounds. And with something like the circuit, you just plug it in, and then the P033, I can just be like, hold this record, and then he just plays stuff and gets it. So it works really well for that. Even like Koala would be good, you know, if you can just let him borrow the phone, but screen time, I guess. So there's that. Let's see. VG says, got the SP just 2 weeks back and I'm loving it. Already made a beat and also made a synth ambient song after following your sound generator video. So thanks a ton for what you do. Awesome. Yeah, we did a little sound generator in this, but that's great to hear. I love the synths and sound generator. Most of these samples today, like I said, are from my analog synths in my new sample pack. But you can't go wrong with sound generator, and I love that it's there. That's like one of the things I was saying. I wish the MPC sample had just something akin to that. G-Man says 3 MPCs, the 2000, the 500, and the Touch. Was tempted by the MPC sample, but felt there was a big social media campaign to buy. I totally get that. There was a ton of hype with that. I wanted one because it was pretty inexpensive compared to other MPCs, and I've been wanting to get MPCs for so long, so I just bought one. But the 500 before that, I was looking at that, but it just seemed, I didn't know if I'd want to get something that, like, you know, that would take that much time to learn and all that, and just a little more older and things like that. There's nothing wrong with the retro stuff. I just was like, oh, maybe I'll wait. VG says, I did the ambient thing and put a Radiohead type kick, like with a load of low pass filter, and put a sidechain on it, but ran the bass dry and the synth via bus 1 as SX reverb, and bus 2 was for live effects. That is very similar to what, like, my workflow we were discussing earlier. Bus 1's always the static sample, the static melodic sounds bus effect. That's why we've got Kodama. And then bus 2 is where you can either thicken things up if the bus 3 and 4 aren't enough with like additional 303 compressor. I love to just overload 303 and have like 2 instances of it. Or you can do the performance stuff, you know, like the cliched isolator to the drop with the DJ FX looper. We'll get to the bar. Here we go. Stuff like that. You can do that, what is it, scatter? The nice glitch effects. And of course, filter. Or I love even just like overloading the reverb on that snare and all that stuff. What have we got? Rondo, that's the thing. Like my daughter rocks out with the P033 at times, so I was wondering how immediate the workflow is. I love the SP. I don't like Roland's preoccupation with the menus though. Yeah, I haven't tried the EP133 yet, the new one. I don't know about that one. The MPC sample, I mean, if your daughter's already using the P033 and can do a lot with it, then I would definitely, maybe a P6, but again, that's a lot of small menu diving, so maybe the sample, there is some menu diving on the sample, or at least using the screen for menus and things like that. It may not be a ton of menu diving, but there is that, so look into it. I mean, there's lots of videos of all the different samples and stuff, so there may be something. I'm trying to think what else would be good, but yeah, I mean, the MPC samples probably a pretty solid contender, or the P6, depending on price and things like that. All right, so let's see where we're at, because I went on a side tangent there. I wanted to answer everybody's chat. So I think we've got our song, so we need to... Oh, I know what we got to do. We got to build that B section. So let's copy this over to 4. I always build my B sections in 4. I just want to test something. Normally with the B section, I just kind of alter the variation of what I'm doing. So we'll talk variation and building the sample or the track, but usually for the B section I just pare everything back to like the kick, snare, and the bass, and then build a new melody or just one of the melodies and then come back to the main thing. That totally works, but I just want to try something where we're going to just take the drums, and we might even change the drums a bit, but I want to just try this. Let's play that original. I know that's kind of a wrong note. Ooh. That's the one thing when you sample chords, you're stuck with that chord. Like whatever sus chord, if it was a sus2 or sus4, you're stuck with it. But let's try something. I'm just going to see really quick. Let's do 4 bars. Let's do, yeah, 8th notes. Let's get a pretty strong quantize. Now that might work. Now the only thing is I wasn't thinking, I didn't move, I did not move over. We might need to redo that actually. Good thing it's a really easy part. Let me just move everything over actually. And I know it's going to sound terrible. I recognize that, but just give me a second because I want to test something with this idea. We're just going to see if this is going to work. I know, give me a sec. Okay, now what we're gonna do, move that over, and we're just gonna take those sounds and the drums, that main sound. Oh, I did the wrong one. Moving too fast for my brain to keep up with it, I guess, or something. We're gonna do this. It was... Okay, that's always a bug I get. Sometimes when I copy and choose the different things, it shows that there's nothing in the pattern. See, like that. So let's get out of pattern, go back here, play it for a second, copy it, choose that, hit remain. There we go. This is the sample we want, and that. So now we have just that, and then what I want to see is, I'm hoping this is going to work, but it might not. But if we just do like those 2 leads, the drums, and the bass, let's just see if it works. Because I know those sus chords are a little out of key, but hey, maybe it can work. Maybe it'll sound a little dark and weird, contrasting. It's still not there. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I did have the pattern selected. That's a good point though. I thought I did, but again, maybe I'm moving too fast for my brain to keep up. Oh, that's weird. So that part's there. So why is it tripping out? Hold on. Okay, well, we're going to try one more time. Take this, put that here. I just want to see this one. this. That should be our lead 1, and that should be our lead 2. Let's just hear what it sounds like with those sounds. Oh, I don't know. I kind of like it. Well, I'll tell you what, we don't have to use it, but it's there. I just wanted to experiment. I like that sus chord that I had sampled, so I just wanted to see if it would work. Anyways, let's talk actual arrangement. And before we do that, though, real quick, Rondo says, I'm about to go download that update. Yeah, go for it. I mean, it doesn't hurt just to have it. I was on 4.04 until this update. I didn't get the 5 and even the bug fix for that resample thing. That was, I think, 4.07. I didn't even get that one. VG says, I know this is... Where to go? I know this is... Why is it doing... Hold on. I know this is too much to ask, but can you like make a dedicated video on the DJ mode? I mean, there are a lot of videos on that, but I think you'd do the best one on it. You're like my sensei at this point. Well, I appreciate that. I don't actually really use the DJ mode. I don't know if I'd be much help. But let me know your questions about it. I can look into it at some point or maybe do it in a live stream. But yeah, I want to say the last time I used the DJ mode was for one of the first big SP404 videos I made, like long form videos. That was what was it called? The five ways to play live on the SP or something. Like I talked about the DJ mode. That was probably the only time I did a video on it and the last time I used it. And then I did my very first live stream on the channel was actually testing out DJ mode on here with a few songs that became my album Radiant Visage. But I don't know if I'd be a big help for it. There are some cool things though with it, but yeah, Fan Cannibal, I think that is, says the DJ mode is pretty limited because the BPM detection is busted. Yeah, that's true. The BPM detection, I don't know in the DJ mode, but just normally is not the greatest. Okay, let's talk arrangement though while we do that. Actually, Seth says, I've noticed that behavior too, I think, with the patterns not copying right when you try to do just certain sounds. For some reason, if you delete the pattern, then try to copy remain, it sources the blank pattern, so you have to reselect it. Oh, maybe that's what happened, because I think we were deleting patterns, so I bet that's it. Nice nice observation there. That works. Okay, so let's talk building the song. So we have our master track, right? Like the master loop that has everything in it. Overloaded with sounds, probably too many, but that's totally fine, because what we're going to do is build the song now from this single thing. So we're basically creating the stems and building the song. So we'll take B1 and we'll move it to 13. That's where I usually start a song. I'm going to hit remain. Look, we actually have it this time. So we're going to do, let's say, just the kick, the hi-hat, and the snare, and then just this sample. So that can be our intro. And then I always make a duplicate, because what we might do is go into TR-Rec mode and remove things, or we could even just record things on top. There's always the option. I like to have a lot of variation. Then we're going to go back to the master track or master loop, go over here, choose, let's add in that little snare sound and maybe the bass. We do have to go to... Oh, I'm moving too fast. I apologize. We're going to take this, put that here. Let's see if it did that. Yep, it did that thing again. Copy this, move it here. It's doing it again. Okay, let's get out of this. Play the pattern. Let's see if that fixes it. There they are. Okay, so we fixed it, or somewhat fixed it. Let's get... There we go. Now let's hear... There we go. Again, we'll make a copy, and I'll show you why in a second. We already have a little variation in the drums, but there is that. Now we'll move this over here, and let's do just one of the leads. This is our first lead that we did. We'll use that as the first one. Copy that again if we want the variations. Take that master track or master loop. Everything goes on here. This is our big final thing. And again, we could make additional variations. that last note doesn't work. That note works, so I can still hear what I want that to be, but because I'm stuck with that just single sus chord, it's not working. I almost wonder if we use the first two and then do a different chord with that original sample or that original synth. We could do it. That's a lot. We've been going at it for an hour, I guess so, or almost an hour, so we won't worry about that. Let's just talk this main section, and I'll mess with the B section I was making and maybe make a short or something talking about it. But we've got our main thing, so I'm not going to do all of these variations. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. So what I might do here is go into TR-Rec mode, go to this lead, and we'll just do a couple notes, like maybe those two. We'll delete that one. And then in that last, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Go back to TR-Rec mode. Let's take out all the drums in that last one, except maybe that one. Take those, we'll leave those. I like that fill right there. We already have kind of a built-in fill, so we'll just use that. Take those out. Take this kick out. That works. And maybe we'll do, put the velocity up. Let's do a sub-step like that. That one doesn't work, but that little sub-step one works. Let's hear that again. There we go, perfect. So that's our little fill. So if we were to go, which one did I do that on? So that could be like, let's say we start with this one, right? And then let's build it just by subtly bringing in the lead, just a little bit of the lead, not the full lead we made. And then it'll do that dropout, and then we bring in, let's say, everything. Or, yeah, let's do it. And there's the other lead. You hear that in the other ear? And then we can go back to just that. And that could be our end, right? Sesh asks, what does sub-step do? That's that, I guess, what, ratchet, whatever you want to call it, that like rolling hi-hat. You'll hear it at the end there. Let me get back into TR-Rec mode. Did I hit the wrong one? Yeah, I hit the wrong one. Wait, what happened? Was I on a different pattern? No, this is it. So what happened to the sub-step? I totally lost the one I was doing. Moving too fast, right? Here, it's this one. So hear that hi-hat going, that's the sub-step. It's just those ratchets. Let's see what else we got. Fan Cannibal says, I have my Digitact connected to the 404 via MIDI in on SP and out from Digitact. I use the chromatic mode on Digi to sequence samples from my SP. It basically gives me at least 8 extra voices. That's how I use the combo too. Yeah, I love that. It's awesome. I would suppose with the Digitact 2 it'd be really great, just with how much more the Digitact 2 can do. But I've got the OG and it works so well. It's almost like having the Digitact 2 with some of the stuff you can do with it. But since the latest update, it seems to be somewhat broken, though. I can't trigger certain paths no matter how many octaves I change. Anyone else? Which update, SP or Digitact? And then there are the 2 MIDI modes I know for the SP, so you probably have this, but make sure you're in whichever MIDI mode you normally use, because that could be part of it too. The one MIDI mode, I think, makes every bank its own MIDI channel, which is the one I usually use. And then the other one, I think the first 5 are one MIDI channel, and the next 5 are another MIDI channel. All right, I think we're going to be wrapping up soon. I might make a couple more variations just while we have a couple minutes. But if you've got any more questions, throw them in the chat and I'll answer them. And then, of course, if you're watching this back, make sure, or you're welcome to leave comments. I'll be in the chat or in the comments later so I can answer any questions you've got, or do it in the next live stream, because this was a test to see kind of, do I enjoy doing live streams again? And I have a lot of fun doing it. So if you like these live streams, let me know. Leave a like. It does help. Or just leave a comment after the video ends, just so I know that you want to see more of these live streams, because I miss the beat making, so I want to do more beats. Anyways, let's well, if you want to throw in any more questions or anything, go ahead, and I'm gonna do a couple more little variations. So let's actually get one that's just the synth too. That never hurts to have, and maybe the two leads. You know what? Even the bass, because that's a nice little drop. After you do this big one, go into that one. Okay, wait, actually I know, we gotta do a variation. I really like that variation we did, so I'm gonna do that again, where we do the sub-step. I think it was that one. There we go. And maybe this other kick, just put it right there. Yeah, this little subtle 16th note on the other kick I have, that makes a big difference. We might even add that somewhere else. But watch, we'll do that and go to this drop. Now we got just the ambience, right? We could even add SX reverb. And we could put snare right at the end, like, gah! And then it comes back into the part. So this is what I'm thinking about when I'm arranging. Just how can I put the puzzle piece together, or puzzle pieces together, to get the song to fit and make sense together, like in cohesion. So what I would think is probably start with this, maybe even with that, then bring in the bass. I can't remember if we did a variation of it, but we'll just go to that one anyways. Maybe we would have some sort of variation here. Oh, I know what I want to do. Actually, yeah, we will do a variation in that one. We're going to take the drums out at the start, because that's always a lot of fun. And let's do another one of those sub-steps really quiet though, right here. Yeah, that works. Cool. Okay, so we have this variation. Okay, cool. Let's run through this kind of concept. This was a quick arrangement. We could, of course, do the pattern chain, but I'm just going to run through it by triggering it just because, well, actually, it might make more sense if I'm lazy to do it this way. So I guess I'm not lazy here, and I'm going to do it manually, but we'll do it that way. Fan Cannibal says the SP update for that Digitact issue. Interesting. So I haven't tried it since that latest update. Yeah, I'd be curious if anybody else is having issues, because that is one of, I think, my favorite combos, the Digitact and the SP. So if that's not working, that's actually a pretty huge bummer. Seshbeat says, would love to catch more of these. Awesome, cool, yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, because I definitely want to do them more. I just want to make sure that, you all want to see it. But I miss doing beats. A lot of what I do is not beats. Now it's like using the beats in the videos, but talking about different things. VG says, can we play a sample beat live with the mic attached using the vocoder, so triggering either vocal bus or the sample bus? I'm not sure if you're asking if you can have something already in the SP and like already in the SP and you're triggering using the input effects vocoder, because I think the vocoder is only on the input effects right now. But you could have a mic and run the vocoder through, and have like a song playing, just like I would run a guitar through the input effects and have the amp sim and it plays on top. You just have to have external source turned on. If I'm not understanding it right, let me know. And then Fan Cannibal says, we would always appreciate ways to come up with more variety from pattern to pattern. It's easy to sound stagnant using one-shot drums. Question, what have you been listening to last live show? Man, I got 2 kids under 2, so I haven't been to a live show in a long time. It's been quite a while. I think I think the last live show I went to was the last live show I performed, which was in 2020 or something. It's on the channel if you want to check it out, way back there, before the SP, before most of my DAWless gear even. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. And what have I been listening to lately? I can't pry myself away from the new Boards of Canada album, Inferno. It's so good. I love all their albums, and they're like probably my favorite band, but this new one is different, and I love that. There's so much melodic complexity to it. I like am absolutely blown away with how much is going on. There's more live instruments, which I'm a guitarist first and foremost, so I love that. But that's been the big one. Okay, and variation. I'm not doing a ton because we're kind of running out of time. I think we'll do another live stream maybe. Let me know if you all want to see this like more in depth, but just talking about variations. I do have a full video showing the full workflow from start to finish. It was 3 live streams together on the SP where I do talk more about these variations and stuff. But let me know if you want to see. Maybe we'll start with like a pattern and spend the whole live stream just going through how we add variations and stuff like that. Yeah, Fan Cannibal says, I knew you were going to say boards. It is very different. The drums are so completely different. I love Father and Son. Yeah, the drums, they're so much more prominent, especially compared to Tomorrow's Harvest. Like, you listen to Music Has the Right to Children, the drums are pretty prominent, but there's not that massive snare with like the gated reverb and stuff. But I do think drum-wise, it's very similar to those earlier sounds. And then the instruments and stuff is a lot like Campfire Head Phase, but in like the mirror universe where it's really dark. There's a lot of tritones and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a very interesting album. It's really cool. And I love those subtle little moments of like bliss that they throw in that are just like, then there's just this darkness around it. It's a really good album. Anyways, I totally forgot the arrangement we had, but please keep bringing the questions. It's all good. But I think we were going to start with this. Yeah. Then we're going to go to that one. Then we'll go to that with this variation. Takes out the intro. Then we'll do intro the lead, the part where we took out some of the lead sounds. I'm gonna actually up the reverb a little bit. Maybe drop isolator. Oh, we were in the wrong bus. Now we bring the full lead, but we'll have that dropout at the end. And that's where we bring in this one. New lead comes in. Then I forgot if we did any sort of variation on this one, but we'll try it. One more. And then we're gonna go to this where the drums are out, and we'll just go into mega reverb. Maybe we'll go. Can even bring up Kodama. This is just like our trip out section. And then I'd love to have a drum come in right here before we come back into it, but I just don't have it there yet. Now we're back to the chorus. And then we'll go to our filter, drop it back, took off that one lead, remove even more, and then we'll go for that cliche stopper because it's just so fun to hit stopper when we're done. All right, that's it. Make sure you hit stop so that it stops, and I think that's everything. I'll stay on for another minute. If you got any questions, go ahead and throw them in. Let's look at that poll real quick. So 24 votes, beat making 33%, resampling and sampling 33%. So I would be curious for those hitting sampling and resampling, what is your end device or DAW? Like, are you just resampling things through Ableton or Logic or what? That's something I love about the SP. There's so many ways to use it. And let's see, Fan Cannibal says, I'm in a proper 3-piece band and I am the drummer with solely my SP and Digitact. Please check us out if you have time. We're called Jungle Gold. New EP out very soon. We would be... Cool, yeah, I'll check it out. That's awesome. Yeah, so hopefully that variation stuff makes sense. That's the fastest way to get variation. Now, again, I'm doing an hour live stream. There's a lot more I would do and could do. And I've got plenty of videos in the SP playlist that talk about some of those, but that is the main thing. Think about those. You could make several main loops where you build different sections, right? Just build up sections, and you have 4 or 5 different things. You have this one, maybe you have that, what is it? This other one. And we could have done another one where we did a completely new melody, completely new chord progression. And then you can just think about building that arrangement from those. So you take that first main loop and you build that up. Then you take that second main loop and you build that up, and you find ways to bring those together. And then I like to use those performance effects to tie things together. Like when we dropped out this big crescendo, right? The main thing where every part's playing. I took those drums out. So I'm gonna just up the reverb at the end so it kind of gets all blissed out right before here comes that big reverb. And then you have that reverb playing, everything rings out. It kind of smooths over the transition. Another way to do the transitions, have little white noise effects. You could even go into Sound Generator, get the noise, that terrible sounding thing, right? Resample it, put it right here. Now I would definitely resample this with additional effects, but just reverse it. And if we go into the envelope, release is now your attack. There's a quick white noise to start, or you could do it where it fades out. And that's your like big hit. You could throw those in so we could have it at the end of a transition. Like maybe if we wanted to transition from this big part to that. I'll just show you. We'll do it real quick. We'll put out of TR Rec mode, go to a quarter note because it's going to be right at the start. Or at the end, I should say. We'll go like that. Let it run. Just give it a second. And then now, if we play that and then trigger that one, get that reverb ready, sorry. Here we go. So it just gives a little ear candy. And then you can also add some loops. You could even use something like Session Players in Logic to make some percussion loops, like with tambourines and stuff like that, or get a shaker and a microphone and record those in, and you just have additional little layers you can put underneath very quiet. Let's see, Fan Cannibal says, I voted for sampling, resampling. I sample my Korg synth, process it on the SP, resample it, then sample it into my Digitact and use repitch or other machines to sequence it. But I use my SP for many different tasks. It's like a Swiss Army knife. Definitely. Studio Chameleon. That's what I like to call it, but definitely. So yeah, with that, I think we're going to call it. Awesome hanging out with you all. It was fun to do this, so I'll definitely plan on doing more, but just let me know if you do like these. Like I was saying, leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps and just lets me know and lets YouTube know, more importantly, that these that you want to see these, and they'll show it to you more. If you are new to the SP or you're just trying to learn more about it, I do have an SP404 cheat sheet. That's what I have on the right side, just with like whatever, if I run into the questions about anything. I've got to update it with sidechain. I'm going to do that soon. But it's got pretty much everything else. There's all sorts of things about the ways you can use the effects, sound generator, synth recipes. I know someone was saying they use those for the ambient songs. Sound generator can work. You just have to do a little work to get it to sound good. But I have the recipes to make the synths, all that stuff. So it's in there. And then all these sounds were from my Memory Signals sample pack. So if you want some of those sounds and things like that, check it out. But with that, I think we'll call it. Awesome hanging out with you. And next video is out Saturday. It's a really cool video. I sampled sounds with my son around Hawaii on our vacation, and then used effects to turn those into drums and even a synth. I turned an ocean noise into synth. I didn't think I could do it, but I was able to get it to be melodic, which was awesome. So I'm stoked to get that one out. It'll be out next week. But yeah, Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.